You guys want to hear something absolutely insane? Did you know that less than 10% of dentists in America are regularly offering clear aligners to their patients with confidence? There are 200,000 dentists in America, and 10,000 of them are doing 2 to 3 cases a month, and only 3,000 are doing 10 or more a month. I was one of those dentists who didn't have the confidence to do aligners, and I actually put off doing them for several years. But once I learned how to do them, I went on to teach how to do this procedure, and I have taught over 180 dentists these simple techniques. Now, in the last 2 years, I have seen firsthand the 5 reasons why dentists are not embracing aligners in their practices. And I'm gonna share it with you, right? These 5 reasons in hopes to shine a light on the problems that you can avoid to go on and have success with aligners. And so the 5 reasons that dentists avoid aligners are because fear of the unknown, friction with the team, financial burden, few learnings, and the 5th one is fickle patience. This training can be applied to all aligner brands. I just want to put that out there so that way you're aware of it. So let me ask you a question. If you didn't know a procedure was going to work, would you offer it? So this is what brings us into the first reason why dentists avoid doing aligners, which is the fear of the unknown. And so having fear about the unknown is very real and is a big reason why dentists have avoided doing aligners. And so when you haven't seen a procedure work, right, it's very hard to confidently offer it to your patients because you don't know if it's actually going to work. You have to get to a place mentally where you have to trust the plastic. And so having a mentor or a framework to follow for which types of cases you can do is going to help you start this off. And so a quote from Zig Ziglar: "You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great." And so with anything new, you have to be willing to take a chance because you cannot start unless you start. So if your team pushes back on implementing a new procedure, chances are you won't end up doing it, right? Now, this brings us to the second point, which is friction with the team. Okay, so friction with the team is a big reason why dentists don't offer aligners. And so if you want to be successful with aligners, you are implementing scans during hygiene visits. Team members don't like this because they feel like they don't have enough time to do them, right? And so team members, like most people, don't like change. They find comfort in their routine. So when a new protocol is introduced, they get stressed out, right? And then they tend to make it a way bigger deal than it actually is. And so team members feel as though they won't be as good at scanning. So they worry that they're gonna lose their jobs since this is now required of them. Again, this is very dramatic, but the solve is to practice it and get better at it. Because when the team creates friction with implementing aligners, most dentists are just gonna back down. They're not gonna hold the team accountable, and they're just gonna kind of let it be and go back to status quo. This is horrible because this is not an environment that is going to foster any growth. Things are going to stay stagnant and then eventually it will die off. Now, this will cause the dentist in the practice to stay stuck in old ways, and ultimately that's going to lead to the demise of the dentist and the practice. So if a procedure had an expensive lab bill, would you do it? And so this is another reason why dentists avoid doing aligners, because of the financial burden that is perceived around the procedure. So docs are going to complain of the high lab bill, anywhere from $1,500 to $1,800, and docs complain about the price tag of a scanner as well, right? Which can be anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000, that's 50. And they also complain that they cannot charge the prices they want to because the patients won't pay for it. Now, all these things that I just listed, they're valid to a certain degree, except for the fact that you have an ability to actually make changes in each of these topics. Because for the lab bill, you could choose a different aligner brand that's not as expensive, right? Or you could do more cases with said brand, so that way they give you a lower lab bill, all right? And the docs are complaining about the price tag of a scanner. Well, the scanner pays for itself and then some, just due to the efficiency that you can get out of doing more cases. So it's all about how you look at it, right? And then the docs are complaining that you can't charge a price that you want. Well, you can, because there are other things that are associated with the treatment that can be charged directly to the patient, whether it is the case setup fee or actual scans themselves. There are different prices that you can charge that does not have to necessarily go directly to insurance. So realize that you have the ability to charge how much you want for the procedures that you offer to your patients to ensure that you are being compensated for your work. So don't forget, patients who value the treatment that you are providing will find a way to pay for it. But if you don't present that value correctly, then there's no way they're gonna do it. In case you're wondering, I made an entire training on case acceptance. You can check it out right here. The video is very helpful. I think you'll find a lot of value from it. Right, let me ask you this question. When you aren't taught how to do a procedure in dental school, the chances of you doing it in practice are pretty low, right? So I wasn't taught how to do aligners in dental school, but I wanted to know how to do the simple cases with confidence. And so my mentor gave me the exact playbook to follow so that way I could do predictable cases, and I followed it. And then I went on to treat 50 cases in my first 6 months. And then that lesson showed me that every dentist does not get the baseline education they need to be successful with aligners because dental school has failed us in many ways. And now I'm here to change that. Okay, and I made a couple free masterclasses and you can register for them so that way you can learn how to start and dominate aligners. The links for those free trainings are in the description below. Be sure to check those out. So this lack of education is something that is very common because dental school just doesn't teach you how to do the procedure. Dentists don't have the confidence with aligners, and orthodontists have gatekept this information in fear that if general dentists start doing aligners, there are going to be less patients for them. But the opposite is true, because when dentists are confident about a procedure or just knowledgeable about it, they're going to talk about it more. And when they talk about it more patients are going to be able to get treated, whether it's referred out to the specialist or in-house by the general dentist. I know this because I referred way more cases when I was doing aligners versus when I didn't know how to do aligners, because I didn't even know how to identify cases and at least talk about it. See how this works? It's all about having an abundance mindset, okay? And the education that exists, it's tailored to doing moderate to complex cases, which in my opinion should be reserved for those orthodontists, right? You don't need to take on complex cases to be good at aligners. You just need to take on the basic stuff, and you need to do as much of that as possible. That is a reality that we could all live in. And so the key to learning is how to start. Then you can grow as much as you would like. So let me ask you this question. Do you think your patients don't want aligners because you don't have a cosmetic-based practice? Well, you're wrong, because your patients, they want it badly. So when I started offering aligners, one of the reasons why I just didn't dive into it was because the practice that I was at was pretty old and the population for the patients was mostly people in their like 50s and 60s, right? Not really cosmetically driven. And I thought it was gonna be really hard to do this procedure because they weren't young, they weren't looking to like improve their smiles. Like that just wasn't the vibe of this office. But then one day I just decided to talk about it, right? And I just wanted to see if the patients would be interested. And so what actually happened is I forgot to mention the cosmetic benefits to my patients. And I just told them that we would be able to get their teeth into a healthier position and it would help solve current and prevent future problems. And so they ended up appreciating the honesty and then they moved forward with the treatment. And so it turns out that patients value oral health improvement over strictly cosmetic benefits. And I made this a core part of my aligner treatment discussion with prospective patients. And so kind of diving into that a little bit further here, Align and Smile Direct Club have poured hundreds of millions of dollars into marketing about moving teeth with plastic. And they've done this to the entire population, right? So the patients are aware of it and they want the treatment. The problem is patients don't know if they qualify for the treatment. And I put that blame on you, the dentists. It is your job to know if they qualify and tell them about it. Because you have to remember, aligners are not just cosmetics. They're meant to improve the oral health of the patients. So if you frame it that way, watch how many patients say yes. And now the oldest patient I ever treated was 81, believe it or not. She loved her results. And this is just a reminder to you to not disqualify patients because of their age. The only type of patients, and this is a fact, the only type of patients who won't want aligners are patients without teeth. Make sense? So if any of these reasons that I mentioned in the training sound like you are or are aiming to just be an average dentist, you will not grow and you will not rise above the pack. Being average in this industry will lead to misery and you will regret it and you will not actually be successful. And so if you don't want to be average, then I highly encourage you to go and join the rest of the dentists on our platform, Clear Aligner Advisor. We have helped over 150 dentists integrate clear aligners into their practice, and they've gone on to generate over $9 million of revenue from aligners alone. And so this is our website. We've got the rest of the free training and resources. You can go ahead and check those out. Aligner Blueprint and Aligner Launchpad are two of our courses that we offer, both with various levels of support. And you can also check me out on Instagram, dr.avi. Now, if you want to go deeper on aligners and you want to learn how to market to patients and actually get more patients in the door, I highly encourage you to go watch this video right now. That is a blueprint on how to get more patients and not spend as much money. I'll see you in there.